On today's show, it might be good problems, but good problems are still problems. And the Suns have a Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks dilemma. Who's the second best player on this team? And how does Jordan Ott make it work smoothly? Plus, the Suns have some depth concerns, but it just means someone's getting traded. We'll talk about that and much more this edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up and welcome in to yet another edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of The Ben Garcia Show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, where we talk all things Arizona sports and a credentialed Phoenix Suns media member covering your Phoenix Suns 365 days out of the calendar year for the number one sports podcast network in the world, the Locked On Podcast Network. Wherever you might be listening, watching, viewing, consuming Locked On Phoenix Suns, I appreciate making myself and this show a part of your day. Remember, Locked On Phoenix Suns is available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do what thousands of Suns fans have already done. Become an everyday and get locked on the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. It is, what time is it right now? It is 3:41 p.m. on December 25th. Merry Christmas from myself, my family, to yours. Whatever you, maybe comment in the comment section. I know most of my audience is adults and maybe you don't get many gifts, but comment. What did you get for Christmas? What did you ask for? Listen, I asked for a $600 microphone, and my wife was like, yeah, maybe you don't need another microphone. Maybe the $300 one you have will work just fine. And you know what? That's pretty fair. Maybe we'll roll it over to my birthday. Outside of that, I got some pretty cool gifts, some stuff that is will, mostly play a role when my daughter is born here in a couple of months. But thank you so much for continuously making Locked On Phoenix Suns your first listen every day. Your presence is my present from you. But we got a lot of things to get into. So Merry Christmas. But the Phoenix Suns have also an embarrassment of riches on this team. This is a good problem to have. I want to preface it like that. I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking a side here because I know the Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks talk is, I can already see it from a mile away. It can stir up some people and make it seem like I'm trying to get people angry. I'm not. But here's the question I want to phrase to you, and I'm not going to answer it. I don't want to take a stand on this. I don't think it's that important for me to tell you how I feel because I think either way, it's great. Who is the Phoenix Suns' second best player right now? When everyone is healthy, who's the Phoenix Suns' second best player? I think a lot of fans would say it's Jalen Green. And despite some of the reasons I've laid out why I'm concerned about Jalen Green, I'd be hard-pressed to disagree with fans. He's got insane athletic abilities. I think actually defensively, he's going to be a plus for this team, not a net negative, not an elite defensive player, but someone who can get his hand in passing lanes, someone that can disrupt what other teams do. And then there's the flip side of the coin. Well, if I would probably agree that even right now, even with some of my concerns, Jalen Green could be the Suns' second best player. What does that do with Dillon Brooks? Because Dillon Brooks is having a career season for the Phoenix Suns. He is averaging the most points he's ever scored in a game by a lot. He's averaging 21.8 points per game. And he's doing it on some pretty sound efficiencies. He's shooting 46% from the floor, and his three-point percentage is already ticking up at 34%, but he is shooting 7 of them a game. So it's not great, but it is ticking up. It was at 30% just a couple of weeks ago. And he's also shooting 82% from the free throw line. And then you have Jalen Green, who in his best season last season shot 42% from the field, 35% from threes, but he shot 8 of them a game where Dillon Brooks shoots 7, and shot 81% from the free throw line. His points per game is less. His field goal percentage is less. His three-point percentage is less. And yet we still wonder who's the second best player on this team. And then it really hit me today. Well, how does Jordan Ott fix this? Well, at first I thought about it and I said, okay, well, maybe Dillon Brooks needs to be the secondary ball handler on this Phoenix Suns team. And Jalen Green needs to play more of a role in the catch and shoot department. But I was looking at Jalen Green's shot type, and when I was looking at it today, he shoots 32% in terms of catch and shoot field goal percentage. And when he's guarded, he shoots those at a 44% clip. I'm sorry, when he's guarded, he shoots those at a field goal percentage at 36% and unguarded at 40%. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So then I thought, okay, well, we'll just make Dillon Brooks, or I'm sorry, we'll just make Jalen Green a slasher. We'll make Dillon Brooks work outside of that. And then you look at Jalen Green statistics around the basket, and it's one of the things I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. It's below average at the rim. He's average in the layup department. He's below average in the dunk department. He is only 51% in terms of layups at the rim and 51% an effective field goal percentage from Jalen Green. He's not great around the rim either. But still, what keeps on making me believe that Jalen Green is the second best player on this team, or can be, despite all of the concerns that I've had with Jalen Green this year, despite all the concerns I've had from him before, the reasoning why you still have to shift into the Jalen Green department of seeing what he's got as your second best player, not because of the raw talent that he has, but because you use Dillon Brooks as an example of what it looks like when you play with a team with real spacing and real shooters. The Houston Rockets, I don't know if you've been paying attention to them recently. They're not much better than the Phoenix Suns right now. And Kevin Durant is struggling with the same things that Jalen Green was struggling with the Houston Rockets. They don't got any shooters. And when you substitute Fred VanVleet from that situation and Dillon Brooks from that situation, who was shooting 40% from three last year, it's really opened up my eyes to the Jalen Green side of things where, okay, if Jalen Green plays in an offense with a little bit more spacing, where dudes can actually hit open three-point jumpers, and he's not asked to be the number one offensively, and you see just what this offense has done with Dillon Brooks at the helm from Houston to Phoenix, you say to yourself, you have to give Jalen Green the runway to be the second best player on this team. And I would agree with that. Even with all my concerns of the starting lineup and how redundant it can be, which is why I've always said, when Jalen Green comes back, you're not putting him on the bench. I know what the Suns are doing, regardless of what I would do. I know what the Suns are going to do, and they should. They should run it out there with Jalen Green. What I'm saying is, and the topic of discussion is, what is Jordan Ott going to do? Is he just going to rip the ball from Dillon Brooks and give it to Jalen Green and say, hey, we know Dillon is having this career year. And when Devin Booker has been out, he's truly been our first or second best player. But it's the topic of discussion. When Jalen Green comes back, where does he fit in the hierarchy of this offense? It's tough for me to just say that Jordan Ott's going to rip the ball from Dillon and say, here, Jalen, here are the keys. We know that you've never had a season as efficient as Dillon is having. We know that you can have some craziness around the rim. But this all comes into Jordan Ott trusting his offense. I don't think it's just a coincidence that everyone on this team is having a career year with the way Jordan Ott is conducting this offense, is conducting this team. And also, what's the best version of the Phoenix Suns? Like, that's what I'm always into. The best version of the Suns is one in which where Jalen Green is the second best player on this team. And I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm telling you, I still have clear concerns. But the potential he has, even I can't doubt. The athletic ability, the things that I think he can help to do defensively. Like, the Suns have champagne problems. They have good problems, but good problems are still problems. They got to figure out a way when Jalen Green comes back to put him into the offense seamlessly, because we're not trying to have these issues while the Suns are still jousting for playoff positioning, which is why I'm not taking a stand on it. I don't know. I think there's a clear argument to be made that Dillon Brooks should be the second best player on this team. But then I see how well Dillon Brooks has flourished in this offense. And it's not just Brooks. It's not just him just somehow having a career year. It's Royce. It's Jordan. It's Colin Gillespie. There's multiple. It's Grayson. Everyone's having a great year. So you're telling me Jalen Green is going to be immune to that? If he is, we got bigger problems than we're really ready for. But Dillon around the rim has been really good per synergy. Jalen Green hasn't in last year with a different offense in the Rockets. Dillon is shooting better from field goal percentage, roughly the same from three-point percentage. And it just got me thinking, what is Jordan Ott going to do? I find it tough that he's going to turn him into just this catch and shoot three-point shooter guy. And is Dillon going to be okay with just giving the rock up now to Jalen Green and say, I'm having a career season from field goal percentage, from the defensive side of things? My career is being elevated. And you want me to give it to Jalen? We're winning games. We are better than we were supposed to be. And most of that has to do with me. And you're going to send me to the back? That's not fair. And it's like the double-edged sword. Should Jalen lose his spot because he was injured, or should Dillon lose his spot because he took advantage of an opportunity? I don't know. It's why I don't want to take a stand on it. It's why I don't want to say, nope, Dillon's definitely the second best. No, Jalen is definitely the second best player. What's the best version of this team? I think undoubtedly, if Jalen comes back and is the second best player on this team, it's the best version of the Phoenix Suns. Hand up, I get to be wrong. Suns get to be better, deeper. Dillon Brooks gets to be the third best guy, save some of his energy on offense, send it over the defensive end. That helps cover for Jalen Green's some deficiencies on defense, and everyone's happy. I'm just saying, give it some time. Because when Jalen Green comes back into the fold, I don't think it's going to be beautiful to start right away. I think it's actually going to be a little clunky, and that's okay. Because Jordan Ott has now earned the right to fix Jalen Green too, like he's done with everyone else. But it's just an interesting thought exercise. After Dillon had another great game against the Lakers, where he had 25 points and literally nothing else, the funniest stat line ever, it got me thinking, where is that going to roll between those two guys? Coming up next, the Suns have more champagne problems. They've got legitimate depth concerns, but in all the right ways. And I think someone's getting traded. Let's talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Game Time. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building. The energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets. Fast, simple, without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app and get in on the action. So the Suns have legitimate depth concerns. When Jalen Green comes back, that is going to push back the Phoenix Suns roster so much. And the X factor in all of this is, what do you do with Jamaree Bouyea? Jamari Bouyea, who I've been a big fan of for a very long time. I'm not going to act like and tell you that I thought he was going to be this good for the Phoenix Suns, because truthfully, in any of his action in the NBA, where he's never really had a long stay, believe it or not, this is actually his longest stay in the NBA. He has had 4 games with Miami, 1 game with Washington. That was 5 total his rookie season. And then with Portland and San Antonio, he played a total of 9 games in 2023, 2024. And then last season, he had 5 games played with the Milwaukee Bucks. He has never had an extended run like this in his career. And he has made the Suns' depth concerns such a good problem to have, but just like the Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, second best player option, it is still a problem. And it's a problem you have to solve. It's better than talking about, well, the Suns don't have any players past their 7th guy. That's not true with this team. They've got 8, 9, 10, 11. And that bench can do one of 2 things. You can just send guys to the bench and banish them to Alcatraz and not play them, or you can do what we're going to talk about in a second, packaging 2 guys. But I want to really lay my stamp on this one. Jamaree Bouyea has been so good for the Suns this year, and not just on the offensive end. He's been really good defensively, and I think a lot of that has to do with the players he's playing with around him. Not only is he playing with effort, but it takes a skilled player to take Austin Reeves to the hoop, not one, not twice, but multiple different times in that Lakers game. Here are Jamaree Bouyea's insane offensive splits this year off the bench. In 15 minutes of action, which again is his most since his rookie season a game, in 13 games played, his most played in the NBA ever during a regular season, 60% from the field. That is by far the best in the Phoenix Suns. 46% from 3. That is by far the best on the Phoenix Suns. And 85% from the free throw line. Now, he's not shooting many free throws a game. He's literally shooting less than 1, which means he's living on the perimeter. But he adds an element to this team that they desperately need. They need someone that in the corner can hit the occasional 3. He has also been a very capable ball handler for this team this year. He's not turning over the ball. He's averaging a career low, less than a half of a turnover a game. You can make an argument, if Colin Gillespie wasn't here, that he has been the most surprising Phoenix Sun, even over Dillon Brooks. This was a guy that you signed, and folks like me knew who he was because I remembered him in the NCAA tournament, and I really liked him coming out of San Francisco, but I didn't think he'd be this kind of player. He is a fluid, efficient scorer for this team. And if this is who he is, and I actually do believe this is who he is, not 60, 46, 85 splits, but 45, 40, 80 splits. Yeah, I think he could be that guy in the minutes that he's been given, 10 to 13 a game. Maybe if you even bump those up a little bit. Jamaree Bouyea has made Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal very expendable. Now, Royce this season has been really good for the Suns. And I don't want to act like Royce O'Neal stinks. He's not a very good rebounder. We've noticed that at multiple stretches of this game. He's kind of played some lazy basketball. But again, he's older. He's 6'6", 32 years old. But he's shooting 41% from 3 this year. Now, he's shooting 7 of them a game, but that's still really good efficiency. Jamaree Bouyea has made Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen really expendable. And that means they can do one of 2 things. One of them, which isn't very fun, but it's probably the mature thing to do. Now, if the Suns could go get an Obi Toppin, like I talked about with Bruce Vilas the other day, or a John Collins, yes, of course, I would probably go after those players too. But if you could get 2 first-round picks for Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen on a Suns team that's got no ammo, maybe 2 first-round picks for Grayson Allen, that's how good he's been at times this year, you should probably do it. You should probably do it. And I know that's the unpopular opinion, but I do think it's the mature opinion to do. This team needs draft capital, and they need it bad. And the Suns want to still be able to select players in the NBA draft. Now, I'm not just trading these guys just to trade them. If I get 2 first-round picks for them, I'd probably do it. If I get 3, I'd probably do it. If I get 2 first-round picks and a bunch of other second-round picks, an accumulation of a couple of trades featuring both those guys, I'd probably do it. But even more than that, for this season alone, Jamaree Bouyea, not just Jamaree Bouyea, Colin Gillespie, this Sun, Ryan Dunn, like the Suns have the roster to still be competitive this year without just feeling like they're throwing in the towel. And the reason why I say they probably need to trade both those guys is because someone else will tell me, well, why don't you trade Nigel Hayes-Davis? Well, because he's got negative trade value. Why don't you trade Oso Ighodaro? Because he's got negative trade value. Why don't you trade Nick Richards? Because you're probably going to get a second-round pick for him. Like, we're talking about actually getting something back. But when you talk about the Suns starting lineup, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, Grayson Allen or Ryan Dunn, probably Ryan Dunn in this instance, Kaman Malawach. And then you still got on the bench Jamaree Bouyea, Colin Gillespie, Jordan Goodwin, Oso Ighodaro, Nick Richards, like all guys that they're going to play, not to mention, I haven't even mentioned the 2 rookies, Rasheer Fleming and Kaman Malawach. The Suns still have enough players to get through this season and still be very competitive. I appreciate the things that Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal have done, but you're either packaging them for draft capital that you don't have to potentially use in another deal. I'm not just saying to stockpile those, but what if someone else becomes available? What if Larry Markkinen comes available? Like, you need draft capital to do those things or to find your own star players. This has done a pretty good job drafting players. And so I look at those guys and I think Jamaree Bouyea is a massive reason why those guys are expendable. Because if you keep them all, here's the problem. How much better is Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal than Jamaree Bouyea? How much better are they? How much better is Royce O'Neal to Ryan Dunn, especially right now with how streaky he's been? I would argue they're not that much better. They're definitely better, but it's not Grand Canyon size. And would you rather have players that are a little bit lesser than Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal come and take their minutes and use those 2 guys to bring someone else into the fold that fits the power forward position better, or get some picks back that you desperately need? Or would you rather just keep playing Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, eventually lose them for nothing, not Grayson, but Royce, and Jamaree Bouyea, Jordan Goodwin, and Rasheer Fleming, and Ryan Dunn, and Kaman Malawach just rot on the bench? I don't think I'd like that. So I'm just telling you, guys like Jamaree Bouyea, who I haven't done a lot of talking on this year, who's been awesome, making things very interesting for this Phoenix Suns team. So keep your eye out for that. No one's getting benched, guys. No one's getting benched. Maybe at the beginning they're going to get benched when Jalen Green comes back. But make no mistake about it. Someone's getting traded. And my guess would be I'd put a large sum of money down. Not really, but I'd put a large sum of money down on Royce O'Neal getting traded. Grayson, I'm not sure. Grayson, I just think you could get something really nice for and really replace that power forward position. Like, you've got an abundance of guards. Who could you stick at that power forward position so Dillon doesn't have to play it? It's just interesting. Let's look at the Suns' schedule, because a lot of people are talking about the hard part of the Suns' schedule being over. I agree to an extent, but that's not all the way true. Let's talk about it next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays always feel different during basketball season. FanDuel is making them even better every Friday night before the games tip off. FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprise. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is right. It's perfect. Right before the games, right before the weekend starts. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m., a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So on this show, I always like to brag that we like to see around corners. And I mentioned this. I kept track of it before everyone else did. And this is why the schedule is always funny, because people are always like, oh, the Suns schedule gets really, really hard here. It's not fair. They've been, they're going to play a lot of tough teams. Like, the Suns schedule does not lighten up. This, yes, were they November 28th when this tough stretch started, all the way to now, December 23rd, done an incredibly impressive job. If I'm not mistaken, and I got to find the tweet from my guy, John Boyeda, who comes on once a week. Obviously didn't come on this week. It's Christmas time. Got to give the guy a break every now and then. But the Phoenix Suns have had the, so this is from my guy, John Boyeda of Bright Side of the Sun. The Suns have had the 8th toughest schedule thus far this year. The only team to face tougher competition and is over 500 is the Orlando Magic. So if you're someone in the comment section still trying to convince me that the Suns team isn't at the bare minimum good, you're a crazy person. They have faced a gauntlet of a schedule. Here's the problem. It doesn't get much easier. And I know I know you'll look at the teams and you think in their records that's not true. That's not the case. The Suns have played a multitude of tough opponents, but they've got the New Orleans Pelicans coming up here in a couple of days. And you'll say to yourself, the New Orleans Pelicans have only won 8 games. Ben, you have no idea what you're talking about. That team is fresh off of a 5-game win streak where they beat the Trailblazers, who we all know are a very feisty team. The Chicago Bulls, who were better towards the beginning, but still won that game handily. The Houston Rockets, where they came back in that game and won. The Indiana Pacers, who, again, aren't very good, but they won that game. The Dallas Mavericks, who have been playing some pretty impressive basketball recently. And then they lost the other day to the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is not a gimme for the Phoenix Suns. In fact, I think you should be okay with the Suns going on the road against New Orleans and just winning one of those games. They win both, awesome. But that game has no longer became house money. You got to at least win one of those. And it's very possible they don't win either one. You got Washington, that's an easy team. Cleveland is still, I understand, at this point, been very disappointing this year. They just lost on Christmas just a couple hours ago. They opened up the day losing to the New York Knicks 126-124. But then the Suns also got the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then after that, after the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets, it does lighten up a little bit. You got Memphis, who's good, not great. New York, who's good, not great. Washington, Miami. But even then, you look at those teams and you wonder, just how many of those games the Suns are going to win. And it's got me to this as well. We're to Christmas. Today is the inaugural start of the NBA season. When you're a really casual fan, if you're a Suns fan, you've been watching since the beginning. If you're a casual NBA fan, this might be the first day where you sat down and watched 10 different teams play, 5 different games, and we're like, oh, yeah, New York, that's interesting. This is where it starts to ramp up. So let's just talk about this. I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments section. What is, now that we have almost 30 games under our belt, who are the Phoenix Suns? Who are they? 16 and 13. They're second in the Pacific Division behind the Los Angeles Lakers, who they've beat up on twice. But I think at the bare minimum, it's fair to say that this team is a good basketball team. They've beaten up on San Antonio twice. I don't care if the San Antonio Spurs weren't healthy. The Suns weren't healthy either. They've beaten up on the Clippers multiple times, who are supposed to be better. They've beaten the Timberwolves twice. They've played Oklahoma City close once. They beat up on the Lakers. They beat Golden State once. This Suns team's a good team. And the standard for this team has been raised. And that's all you could ask for coming into what I think is the inaugural start of the NBA season. You're probably not paying attention to the New York Knicks or the Oklahoma City Thunder in October when the season started. But when Christmas comes around, you're sitting around the campfire with your friends and family or the Christmas tree, and you're watching these teams. And you say to yourself, how good are the Suns? Not only is the season gone better than planned, they're raising your expectations. At the beginning of the season, I think many Suns fans would have just said, just be a play-in team. That's not the case anymore. It's not the case anymore. The Suns are no longer just a play-in team. You can make the argument they are no longer in the number one tier this is the best of the best. San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Denver Nuggets. The Rockets aren't even in there anymore. Second tier, Rockets, Timberwolves, Suns, Lakers. The Suns are right in the midst of that second tier in the Western Conference, where, just so we're clear, the Suns are a turned ankle away in the playoffs, which, God forbid, you don't want to play anyone when they're injured. You want everyone to be healthy, as always. That shouldn't even have to be said. Everyone wants everyone to be healthy. But playoffs are about getting a little lucky. And just like when the Suns made it to the finals a couple years ago and AD got hurt, granted, Chris Paul also got hurt, just so we're clear, before Lakers fans try to say something. And then Jamal Murray was hurt in the second round, and Kawhi Leonard got hurt in the third round. Like, you do get a little lucky. You want to play teams at their best strength. You don't want to see anyone get injured. That's not a good product for the NBA. But make no mistake about it. The Suns are oh no, Luka sprained his ankle in the second round of the playoffs. The Suns could be playing the Western Conference Finals. I wouldn't pick them to do that. But I'm just telling you, like, the Suns' standard has changed this year. Now you expect them. You better not fall out of the play-in. Hell, you better be hosting a play-in game. Like, you're saying to yourself, they're a 7 or an 8 seed. Don't be the 9 or 10 seed. That's already been raised of expectations. But even more than that, you're talking about them being in that second tier in the Western Conference. I know there's been some frustrations. Jalen Green has had an injury that feels a little bit like Arizona sports luck. Like, this guy's never been injured, but now he's injured. Or Devin Booker's had a little bit of a dry spell. Outside of that, it's been the good times rolling. Colin Gillespie's awesome. Dillon Brooks is awesome. The standard has been raised. And you're at Christmas now. We'll do another check at the All-Star break. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more later in the week. But you're like, oh, you better be a play-in team, and you better host a play-in game. Oh, you better win these games you're supposed to win, because you might just be an outright playoff team at the 6th seed. It's not crazy. It's not crazy. And it's because the Phoenix Suns have played so well that we're here. So all things considered, it's a very Merry Christmas. I feel great about it. Suns are giving me a gift to talk about a good basketball team, a fun basketball team. Do me a favor, guys, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. You can see here in the lower left-hand corner, or maybe when you're watching, it's in the right-hand corner. I don't know. But with that being said, guys, have a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you so much for continuously making this show a part of your day. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. There will be a show tomorrow, post-game, after the New Orleans Pelicans game. Cross my heart, hope to die. There will be a Suns-Pelicans recap game tomorrow. So with that being said, guys, have an awesome Christmas. Have an awesome New Year. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, post Suns-Pelicans.